What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. I am David. I'm joined with Robin, and today we are talking about our favorite person. Just kidding. SEC Chair Gary Gensler spoke in front of the Senate Banking Committee, and he answered some tough crypto questions, and we are going to watch and we're going to talk about it. So let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. So this is the first question posed here by Senator Masto Cortez from home state of Nevada. So let's get right into it.
Bit about crypto regulation. Under your tenure, the SEC has pursued enforcement actions against crypto asset insurers. However, few cases have been brought against the exchanges, and crypto assets are, as we know, traded primarily through the exchanges. The SEC has proposed that intermediaries should be regulated under the Exchange Act. So could you address this? Why should crypto asset intermediaries and exchanges be regulated under the Exchange Act? And if you would, how would investors and market participants benefit from regulating crypto assets under the Exchange Act?
So I thank you. It's actually fairly straightforward because of these 10,000 crypto tokens, without prejudging any one of them, I believe that the vast majority are securities because there's somebody in the public is betting on a better future, betting on anticipating profits on a common enterprise, a group of entrepreneurs in the middle. And then given that, these intermediaries that often have 50 or 500 tokens or 150 tokens, they're going to have a bunch of securities on that platform. How does it benefit the public? It's the time-tested protections that these crypto exchanges, we protect against front running and manipulation, and there's transparency. As you go into the New York Stock Exchange or into NASDAQ or the like, this committee's worked on laws long ago. I complimented Chair Fletcher, who was here in 1934 and did it, but long ago for that very reason, the public benefits. Right now, frankly, there's a fair amount of non-compliance. And so we're going to continue to try to work with the intermediaries, get them inside and regulated. If need be, use our toolkit, our regulatory toolkit to adjust and facilitate, because there are some differences, as Senator Toomey and I talked about earlier.
Would you be able to, through the enforcement, also identify potential money laundering activity?
It's more the remit of the Department of Treasury. However, one of the key things under, as I understand the money laundering laws, the SEC has a role that our registrants, the exchanges, the broker-dealers, have certain compliance obligations over with Financial Crimes Enforcement Network at Treasury once they register, or whether they should register. And I believe it's even if they don't register, but they're legally required to, they have to comply with that.
Thank you. Excuse me.
All right. So he's been on this whole, hey, exchanges, hey, intermediaries, hey, Uniswap, hey, all these other DEXs, come in, register with the SEC. It's for the consumer protection. Robin, please share your thoughts.
You know, what he's proposing, you can make an argument, and the legacy finance system makes sense. You know, and he's saying, hey, if you're gonna trade cryptocurrencies, come register in the same way that stock exchanges are registered, because they're offering products. The problem here is not with the exchange or that premise. It's with the underlying assets. There's no clear definition on what is and what isn't a security. And so if you're going to go in, as he says, and register as a security, or, you know, as an exchange that sells security, you know, that can offer securities, but yet there's no clear description on what is a security and what isn't a security.
He's saying there is, though. That's his whole argument.
Yeah, but
He's
there is. There isn't. That's the problem. And so it's like having a liquor store where half of the bottles inside the liquor store are illegal, and you don't know which half. All you say is that bourbon is legal, If it's bourbon is legal, we're cool with that. But everything else, that vodka, we don't really know. Some of the vodka is illegal, some is not. But we don't know how to explain which one is, which one isn't. And there's just no clarity on the underlying assets that these exchanges are supposed to offer. How are you supposed to go in and be register as an exchange that offers securities? It's a platform that offers that as a trading medium. How can an exchange operate with no guideline and no checklist? There's no it'd be one thing if there was a list. Okay, these are all commodities. These are all registered securities. These you trade this way. These you trade that. There's none of that. Only thing there is a dude on an interview panel on CNN saying, yeah, Bitcoin's a commodity. Ethereum, let's not talk about it. What is that? And how are you supposed to offer trading services on those products when the man at the top literally will be on an interview saying, yeah, that one's a commodity, I think. And Ethereum, well, we're going to leave that alone. And it's an exchange. An exchange offers products. If an exchange just offered Bitcoin only, that'd be a little different. It makes sense if it was an exchange, they only offered Bitcoin. Come in, register as an exchange that offers Bitcoin. Yeah, that could have a blueprint that you could work with. But everything else, there's no blueprint.
So are you for, once there is more clarity on what's a security, what's not a security, are you for these exchanges now going in and registering?
It depends on what that landscape looks like. It depends on, if there is a list of said cryptos that fall in one basket or another.
Let me ask you this question, Robin. Do you think exchanges need more oversight? Whether it's from the SEC, the CFTC, do you think with everything happening with Voyager, some of these other crypto exchanges that people have lost money on, been halted withdrawals, locked out, do you think they need more oversight?
Exchanges don't need it. And we've seen what happens when their U.S. regulators push back on an exchange. They don't stop operating. The biggest exchange out there, Binance, they have Binance. And then they made Binance.us for the Americans. And so until this thing gets figured out, you're going to have FTX US, Coinbase US, Binance US, and that is going to be more and more intertwined with difficulties on the operator side on how to move forward. While abroad, around the world, this space is going to keep evolving and keep growing. And who's going to get left behind? The U.S. citizens are, and the traders here in the U.S. And there's a lot of money behind the U.S. investments. And there's a lot of potential that will be lost and squandered. And you're going to be holding back the whole damn industry because the U.S. economy is at the forefront of crypto right now. The investors have a lot of dispensable income to put into crypto, at least more so than a lot of other countries.
Especially during negative macro environment. And I think Robin hit the nail right on the head. This is the beauty of crypto. It is not tied to one government's rules and regulations. It is worldwide. You saw what happened in China. They banned crypto, and guess what? China still made it in the top 10 of crypto adoption. And so, yes, excluding the US out of those numbers would be vastly detrimental in the speed at which crypto grows, but crypto will still grow just at a slower pace. I just hope for the sake of people who don't know how to use a VPN, who are not comfortable circumventing these things, that we come to some sort of agreement, whether they need to enroll, whether they don't. Just give us some damn clarity, Gary. All right. Let's move on to another part of this interview here that Mr. Gensler talks about, answers questions about cryptocurrency.
I really wanted to talk about it's one thing with the rules. It's another thing when there is an expectation that once the rules have been established, if they're really ambiguous, then that means that each time they have to come back to a regulator to ask whether or not what they're doing is accurate or not. And I think that causes some serious concerns for people that want to invest. So I just simply say, look, I mean, if you're making rules on these, and clearly you are making rules, a lot of them, let's be as precise as we can in them, and I think that'll eliminate a lot of the questions that are coming up, sir. Let me go into just a couple of items very quickly here. At a speech that you delivered last week, you quoted Joseph Kennedy saying, "No honest business should fear the SEC." You went on to say that given the nature of crypto investments, I recognize that it may be appropriate to be flexible in applying existing disclosure requirements. Matt Levine openly questioned that sentiment on a column for Bloomberg, stating the SEC has been suing crypto projects for illegally issuing securities for about 5 years now, but put in that time it has not issued any rules or proposed any rules or put anything on its rulemaking agenda about adapting the securities and disclosure rules for crypto projects. I echo Mr. Levine's comments. It seems to me that you want to regulate an entire marketplace, but clearly it doesn't appear that you've got rules in place to do so at this time. In my mind, this is simply unacceptable, and I know that your background in the private sector you've got a great history in the private sector, so this is kind of confusing to us. I've heard from a variety of companies who claim they try to work with you and with your organization, but then you turn around and then you've hit them with some pretty heavy enforcement actions or slow walk the process. Mr. Chairman, you keep telling crypto entrepreneurs and the companies to come in and to register. Has anyone actually tried to do that?
To answer your question, there's 6 companies that are actually registered under the disclosure regimes. I would say this, not liking the answer from the SEC doesn't mean there isn't guidance, just with all fairness. And most of these tokens, the vast majority, are securities, and thus the intermediaries are likely to be in non-compliance with securities laws right now. So we're really trying to work with them. We're talking to a wide swath of these organizations right now to get them properly registered, to get them inside the remit. And this is what we do. With all respect to Mr. Levine, we've been pretty clear. My predecessor, Chair Clayton, was through commission actions and in his public voice in front of this committee and others about this matter. We're going to continue to protect the public as best we can.
Thank you.
I don't feel like he answered the question, right?
He didn't.
Right. I was like, did I miss it or
No,
something?
you didn't miss it.
Okay.
Majority of them are securities. But which ones, dude? Name us one. Name us 5. Stop saying that you're communicating with these people, because we've seen numerous times from Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, he will literally say, hey, this, and this, tell us what we need to do. You know what the SEC does? They don't reply, they don't respond, or they respond with some BS to where it puts them in a position to where if they don't comply almost immediately to something, they don't even have an idea on how to comply, that they're going to get fined. And I'm happy we at least have some people here in the US in Congress that are able to ask these tough questions. And even when they do, they don't get an answer from it. So again, too much gray clouds, too much gray area, not knowing what the hell is a security, what the hell is not a security. What do you mean by come in and register? What do we have to do? Do we have to delist certain projects? Do we have to put certain extra anti-money laundering things in place? We don't know. We just don't know. And you're not doing your job as the SEC commissioner to clarify things so we can come in and do what we're supposed to do. Right?
Yeah. I'll just leave it at the gentleman's quote where he said, "You don't want companies to fear the SEC." And I think if you have a cryptocurrency project, the last thing you want, true fear, would be a lawsuit deeming your project as a security. We know where that leads. Example, XP. And so, echoing the man's own words, Gary Gensler, they don't want to fear the SEC, but yet nobody knows what the hell's going on, and people are scared.
And they use fear tactics.
Yep.
And think about how many people, how many smart people who could have launched something that would have revolutionized maybe the world, that decided to pull back because they're afraid that their token might not be listed, that they might get sued by the SEC. Think about that. What are we really doing here? This is a power grab from a man who, for some reason, flip-flopped on blockchain and cryptocurrency, refuses to give clear guidelines, and is holding back not just people here in the US, but people across the world, because whether you like it or not, people look at the SEC and our government and our rules, and they emanate a lot of them. So with that being said, you guys, that'll do it for the video today. Make sure you subscribe and come check out our live shows Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys have a great day. We'll see you then.